Welcome and welcome back to my channel, McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Today we're going to be taking a look at a small cap company that actually operates in the magic truffle space. So this was new to me. It's really exciting. There's a lot of news about this company that just recently came out, and I think this is a really cool opportunity to get involved in a new industry and learn about a new company. So before we get into the video, please take a second to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this analysis and this industry as a whole. And without further ado, let's jump right in and talk about Red Light Holland.
Okay guys, that's right. Today we're going to be talking about Red Light Holland Corp. And this was actually a viewer or subscriber recommendation as well. And I'm actually really excited I got to look into this one. This is a company that I had not heard of before. I have been hearing a lot of talk about the benefits of psychedelics and psilocybin itself, but I really hadn't looked at any of these stocks. And considering we've been taking such a deep look at all the companies in the MJ space, this industry is very closely aligned with that, and we'll actually look at some articles that compare the two. So I think this is a great stock for us to look into, and it should be really exciting. Now, there's definitely a lot to unpack in this video. You can see there's a number of tabs we're going to go through. So this is meant to be a high-level introduction to this company and this space, and if you want to see more on this or you have additional companies that you'd like me to investigate, please feel free to comment in the section below. Now, Red Light Holland trades on both the Canadian and the American exchange. So on the Canadian side, it trades under their ticker symbol TRIP, so not to be confused with TripAdvisor, and it's actually trading just under 40 cents Canadian. So if you take a look at the chart here, it was trading below 10 cents for quite some time up until late November. It's then gone on quite a run here, actually hitting as high as 60 cents on February 8th, and it's now actually pulled back to this 38 cent range. So this is as of close on Friday. I'm recording this video on the weekend, but we'll see what happens here when it opens up today. It did have a big jump on Friday. It was up actually 20% just in that single day, moved by 6.5 cents. And you can see here, pretty big trading range throughout the day. It was actually as low as 30, and then it closed as high as 38. So definitely exciting here. There's a lot of news going on with this company, and we're going to get into all that in a second here. Now on the American side, it does trade on the OTC. It's under the ticker symbol TRUFF, and this is for magic truffles, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You can see on the American side, same move obviously of 20% there on Friday, but this one's trading for 30 cents American. So definitely a penny stock in the true sense of the name. And we're gonna, for the purposes of this video, be talking about everything in Canadian dollars. So I'm gonna jump back to the TRIP symbol here, and we're gonna be using Canadian version, Canadian dollars, Canadian earnings for the purposes of this video. Now, the next thing I wanted to point out here is market cap. You guys know I love market cap. So this company's under $90 million total, closed at 87 million in terms of market cap as of Friday. So definitely a small cap company. We obviously know there's a lot of risks associated with these type of companies, but along with the risk comes the potential for huge reward as well. So in terms of what Red Light Holland actually does, we're going to jump into a high-level summary of the company's operations. Then we'll get into the benefits of this product and what psilocybin actually does or is claimed to do. We'll then talk about the leadership team, some of the influencers and media involvement that they have, and then get into a few of the more recent news articles that I think are really exciting about this company. So if we scroll down on the About page here, this is actually their website. You can see that really they offer one product, and it's this microdosing option of magic truffles, and we're going to talk about exactly what magic truffles are, what microdosing is in a second, but this is how the company describes themselves. So Red Light Holland's business revolves around the production, growth, and sale through existing smart shop operators and advanced e-commerce platforms of premium brand of magic truffles to legal recreational markets within the Netherlands in accordance with the highest standards and compliance with all applicable laws. Red Light Holland has strategically based itself in the Netherlands, an area with long-standing established legal magic truffle market. So this is a company that was founded in Canada, but it operates and its headquarters is now actually in the Netherlands because that's where the laws permit this type of operation. Now, Red Light Holland is also proposing to seek EU, so European Union GMP certifications for its production facility in the Netherlands, which will allow them to produce and supply medical grade certified premium magic truffles within the Netherlands. Now, if we pause for a second, there's a number of terms and words in this introductory paragraph that I was unfamiliar with, so I'm going to double click on a few of them for you guys. So magic truffles. So essentially what this is, a lot of people are familiar with magic mushrooms and the benefits or maybe the psychedelic properties that come along with that, especially maybe if you were a little more out there in high school, university, or into experimenting, you may know what that product is. Now, magic truffles are very closely related to that, and they're essentially a dulled down version or a more mild effect than magic mushrooms. So a lot of the same psychedelic properties, but we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a second here. But essentially, they're meant to be used to reduce anxiety, stress, depression, and really kind of take the edge off. And this can be applied in a number of different areas. We'll actually talk about one of the use cases where they're using it for returning soldiers coming home from battle or high stress situations, but there's a number of other applications as well. Now, the other term here that I was unfamiliar with is microdosing. So microdosing is essentially taking a very small amount of something. We're talking like 0.2 to 1 gram to get the benefits without some of the more intense or abstract feelings that kind of go along with these products. So that's the real point of this. It's not going out there trying to get as mangled as you can. This is trying to reap the benefits of the product without having any of the negative side effects or byproducts that come along with these psychedelic ingredients. Now, the other point I just wanted to make here, you can see Red Light Holland's management and advisory members, so we're going to talk about their advisory board, are comprised of a core group of highly skilled individuals with a wealth of combined knowledge and experience related to growing, mass producing, compliance, distributing, marketing, and managing, necessary to help Red Light Holland become a leader in this early stage emerging field. So unlike MJ, this one is definitely not as widespread. It's not legal in as many places around the world, and it's definitely a smaller industry that's just kind of starting to come to fruition now. So in terms of the people involved and the number of individuals with highly trained skills in this industry, it's definitely smaller and harder to find, which I think makes Red Light Holland really attractive because they seem to have assembled those people already and they know what they're doing. So this slide talks about their core business itself. So you can see here again, they're referring to this new facility, EU certified, and this is really going to be the backbone of their operations where they grow, harvest, package all of these products. They then also have a science and innovation field where they're looking at the medical benefits of using whole fungi medicine. And you can see it's actually naturally occurring, this psilocybin. They're Netherlands based, so we talked about that. Right now their goal is to provide this product to the Dutch market, but they are expanding internationally, and we're going to look at a few articles related to that towards the end. And ultimately the goal is to become the #1 premium brand in this space, and they definitely have an early mover advantage, so I do see that as a possible outcome for this company. Now I wanted to take a second and pull up Wikipedia here and just talk about what a magic truffle actually is, because again, this was a new term to me and something I don't think a lot of people are familiar with. So magic truffles are actually one piece of the psilocybin mushroom, and they're technically not the same as mushrooms or magic mushrooms. However, that being said, they do have the same hallucinogenic chemicals, psilocybin and psilocin. So those are really the active ingredients in here that provide that effect people are looking for. Now in 2007, hallucinogenic mushrooms or magic mushrooms were actually banned in Holland. So this is really what switched the market over to this truffle kind of product instead of the mushrooms itself. So you can see here the ban on mushrooms did not outlaw the hallucinogenic species of truffles due to the authorities believing it was weaker than the mushrooms. So psilocybin truffles, which once made little sales, became the only legal option to produce. Today, smart shops, so these are similar to head shops or MJ dispensaries here in Canada and the States, are where people would go to buy this stuff. In Netherlands, they're actually still able to sell these magic truffles as a legal alternative to the former or the outlawed mushrooms that once were sold in those stores. So now the question is, okay, if the mushrooms were banned, what is the benefit of these magic truffles? What's the business case here? And why would people buy this stuff? So obviously there is some recreational use of this product, but really what people are starting to realize is a lot of this microdosing through psychedelics can actually be used to treat a lot of medical conditions, and it's been scientifically proven to do so. So these are a couple of articles just to illustrate that point. So you can see here psychedelics have returned from the fringes and entered the mainstream in a huge way, whether they're through successful ballot initiatives, which we'll look at in a second here, on the stock market, so companies like Red Light Holland, or in Silicon Valley as people start to experiment with this product or invest in it themselves. Now as we scroll down, you can see microdosing involves regularly consuming a small, sub-perceptual amount of psychedelic substance. So this is not intended to give you the visual effects or have you seeing different things. It's really meant to provide the base ingredient to treat some of those medical conditions that we talked about. Now it has received a lot of attention. So Joe Rogan actually featured it on his podcast. Gwyneth Paltrow's talked about it as well. We're going to look at some of that media or press excitement in a second here, but it's definitely becoming more mainstream. So the ballot initiatives discussed on the last page are actually states in the US that have started to legalize psilocybin for these medical treatments. So Oregon was one example of that. There have been a number of others. Canada's also looking at doing this, but it is definitely starting to become more accepted, similar to MJ maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So this next article is actually from Johns Hopkins, so a very well-established, well-renowned source of medical advice, and they're actually looking at psychedelic treatment with psilocybin to relieve major depression, anxiety, stress, things like that. Now, we're not going to go into a lot of detail on this. The point of it is to show you that this is legit and the scientific medical community is looking at this in a serious way. And if you scroll down, you can see some of the highlights here. After only 2 doses of magic mushrooms, which also contain this psilocybin, people reported their symptoms of depression went away for over a month. Furthermore, half of the study participants no longer considered themselves to be in the middle of a major depression after going through this psychedelic psilocybin treatment. So this article here really does compare the psychedelic boom to that of MJ. So you can see here CEOs of companies that are very established in the MJ space like Afria, Iconic Brands, Red Light Holland, and Tilray discuss this global market opportunity. And as you scroll down, you can see here investors are getting really excited as there's expected legalization for both of these industries, and it's opening up opportunities on the MJ side and the psychedelic side globally. And here's Red Light Holland CEO Todd Shapiro talking about psychedelics being the next billion-dollar marketing opportunity over and above MJ itself. So if we use that as a segue and we now jump back to the company website, here is the CEO, Todd Shapiro himself. Now, after taking a look at this guy and listening to some of his interviews on YouTube, he's definitely a very charismatic person. He's full of energy, he's full of excitement, and he's really made it clear that he's doing this for the good of the people. So he personally believes in the benefits of psilocybin and psychedelic microdosing, and he wants to spread that knowledge and that experience with the greater population to hopefully help them cure any of their ailments that they may be facing. He's also got an extensive track record as a brand ambassador, and he's actually advised such brands as Canopy Growth, Samsung, Canada Goose, and even Canadian Tire. So very well established brands internationally and here in Canada, and he's definitely got that connection and that kind of influencer status. Now, if you are thinking about investing in Red Light Holland, I would definitely encourage you guys to watch a few of his interviews. He's definitely not your traditional clean-cut CEO. It's very interesting to watch these interviews and the way this guy carries himself. Here on his Twitter, you can see that he's comparing himself to Dave Portnoy and actually feels like he's coming the barstool of psychedelics. And I thought that was very interesting. Just looking at the two guys, they look very similar as well. Now, in this article, he's talking about the fact that they're not legally able to make medical claims. All of this is proprietary and it's still being proven, but he definitely sees the value here and stands behind it. And it's really interesting to watch his interaction with these reporters or journalists. So I told you that Todd was very well connected and really established in that entertainment industry. So he's actually assembled a big group of people that are behind this company and really willing to market it and use their influencer status to get this into the mainstream. So Chloe is one example of this. You can see she's been involved with Playboy, Maxim, Sports Illustrated, also runway model in Paris, LA, Miami, and New York. And she's got over 2.4 million followers on Instagram. and almost 650,000 on Twitter. So she's actually a brand ambassador for this company, and they really use this influencer type of platform to get their product out into market. Another example of this is some media coverage. So Red Light Holland and microdosing has actually been featured on Vice, the Joe Rogan podcast, High Times, and City TV. So again, these are very well respected, well watched programs in this type of space, and definitely getting that word of mouth marketing out for this company. So now that we've taken a look at what microdosing is, what psilocybin benefits are, and how this product can really be used to treat some of these medical conditions, I wanted to look at their actual product itself in terms of price point, packaging, and branding. So this is the actual microdosing kit itself. You can see it's sold in 15-gram packages, and it retails for €25. So if we were to convert that to Canadian dollars, it's about $40 Canadian. And this essentially is the only product this company offers at this point in time. They also sell some merchandise, which is a very small portion of their revenue, but this is really the backbone of their company. So you can see here, this is the package that it would come in. It's then individually vacuum sealed, and this is how the Magic Truffle looks itself. Here's a close-up of the product. So essentially you can order a single package of this, or if you want to go into a subscription, a 3, 6, 12-month subscription, you'd actually get a slight discount on the product itself. And again, microdosing is meant to be repeated, so it does have recurring revenue, which I really like as an investor. Now in terms of scale, Red Light Holland has actually now commenced growing up to 1 million grams of Magic Truffles. So they just recently announced this actually in December. And if you do the math on this, 15-gram packages, this means 1 million grams could actually produce about 67,000 packages of their product, which is 10 times their original batch size. So this is a massive improvement in terms of scale of production. And you can see here, Todd, the CEO, again, is quoted as saying, "We're proud as a company in the psychedelic sector to actually produce a product as opposed to making mere projections about the future. We believe in providing responsible adult access now through education, information, and we're happy to be moving so quickly and efficiently. We're almost done harvesting our expected first batch, which has been pre-sold, and we are again excited for future growth." So not only are they now able to produce this stuff on a mass scale, they're actually selling out of it before it's even packaged, which is phenomenal to see. Now in terms of the facility itself, it's actually only a 3,000 square foot custom built indoor grow. So it's a lot more compact than the MJ space, which means lower overhead and lower requirement for building size and space. This one is going to act as production and distribution facility, and it's located in Horst, Netherlands. The other thing I'll point out here is there are actually different strains or kinds of this psilocybin. So they actually are going to try and produce 3 different ones here, and that's expected to be coming online in mid-2021. Now, final point on this slide, I just wanted to run the numbers a little bit further for us. So we talked about 1 million grams representing about 67,000 15-gram packages. If you do the math on that, that works out to about $1.7 million in euros in terms of revenue. And if we now convert that to Canadian dollars, you're looking at about $2.5 million Canadian in terms of top line revenue per million gram batch. So I told you guys at the start we were going to look at a few recent news articles. This is one I wanted to point out. So they did just close nearly $12 million round of financing, and they actually issued it at 44 cents per unit. So if you compare that to where they're trading currently, you can see that we're actually getting it at a little bit of a discount compared to what 8 Capital, the underwriter of this bought deal, actually paid. And as talked about in other videos, that's really attractive to me. I definitely feel like 44 cents is at or near fair market price as of February 24th. So if I'm able to get that a little bit cheaper, all the more power to me. Now another quote from Todd here, you can see in a short period of time after the latest financing, Red Light Holland has raised over $20 million, which means they now have over $30 million of cash in the bank. So 2 things that are great about that is, number 1, people are willing to invest sizable amounts of money in this company and industry. And number 2, as they start to build out these new production facilities and make international agreements, it's awesome to have a really strong balance sheet in order to finance that activity. Now the next article I wanted to talk about is actually in relation to international expansion. So Red Light Holland has now received authorization to legally import and sell psilocybin truffles to Brazil. So Brazil is a massive market opportunity. There's over 200 million people in this country. country. So it really opens the door to an extremely big population. They're still going to be selling 15-gram psilocybin truffles. So it's the same packaging and it's the same microdose format. But the Red Light Holland team really sees this as a massive opportunity. You can see here again, Todd, this is a monumental day for the company. We are so proud to be part of providing legal access to psilocybin to Brazil, and for the first time having our products prescribed by physicians for medical use. So doctors are actually going to be prescribing this, and they've partnered up with a pharmaceutical company in Brazil itself, so this Disruptive Pharma, and it's going to be more of a joint venture sort of format. So they've actually issued Disruptive Pharma 3 million common shares of their company and warrants that are exercisable at 50 cents. So what I like about this is Disruptive Pharma now has an invested interest in this company, and they're going to want to push these products because they're now invested in the success of Red Light Holland itself. Now, the final article I just wanted to quickly touch on, Red Light Holland has actually now got a Canadian Special Operations Force Officer, so Glenn Cohen, who also happens to be the founder of 19 Investments, which is a major investment group here in Canada, onto their advisory board. So what this does is, number one, it gives more exposure into the investment community because of their involvement with 19. But in addition to that, psilocybin is actually very well suited for people returning from active military duty. And I quickly touched on this in the intro, but a lot of the people that come back from military operations with PTSD or very traumatic experiences, stress, depression, they can actually use microdosing to treat those ailments. And having a high-ranking official from the Canadian military on the advisory board really strengthens that relationship and shows these people that, hey, this is a legitimate option and you can use this product to help you cure some of these issues you're dealing with. And Cohen himself actually uses these products. So you can see I was introduced to the, in my opinion, positive benefits of psychedelics and microdosing during my own journey of adapting to life after the military. And now as a tech investor in venture capital, I've come to appreciate some of the best technological innovation is naturally occurring. Glenn Cohen actually used this product when he returned from active duty. He saw the benefits himself. Now he's actually taken a stance and joined this company's advisory board to really be a brand ambassador. Now they did issue Glenn 200,000 stock options at a strike price of 32 cents for his services. So it doesn't come free. But again, I like this because now Glenn has an invested interest in this company and wants to see that share price move up because he ultimately can benefit or profit from that. So to end out the video, I wanted to pull up Cedar here and just look at their most recent financial filing. Now this company, like we talked about, is really just in its infancy, so it doesn't have a lot of revenue yet. You can see for the 3-month period ending December 31st, they recorded only $15,000 of revenue. They did have about a $4,000 gross profit on that revenue, but it is very small scale at this point. So as an investor, if you're looking to get involved in this company, you are getting in at the ground floor. And a lot of the big catalysts in terms of production, international expansion, legalization are just starting to come online now. And for that reason, I'm actually really interested in this company. So as mentioned, this was a recommendation from one of my subscribers. I'm really happy that they actually passed this name along to me. And this is one that I've added to my short list and I'm going to be watching actively. I think anything really around that 45-cent price or lower in terms of Canadian dollars is great entry. And I think this is a great way to get exposure into this industry, which I believe is like MJ was just a few years ago and is going to become a lot more mainstream in the near future here. So that's it for today's video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. This was definitely a learning experience for me and really opened my eyes to a new industry and a new company that I'm very excited about. As always, please take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And leave a comment in the section below if you're going to be looking at Red Light Holland itself, if you hold any other companies in this space, and what you think about the psilocybin industry overall. And on a final note, make sure you have a great rest of your day.